Hello kind people of YouTube and welcome back to another video on a day where we see the prices shoot up led by, surprisingly, Litecoin. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's jump into the news of the day. And first up, we have not one but two interesting stories surrounding Binance. So let's read the first one right now. The world's largest crypto exchange Binance is considering a partnership with Ripple to use its cross-border payment platform xRapid, the company's CEO Changpeng Zhao revealed in a Periscope livestream. Speaking in his first livestream ever, Zhao, better known as CZ in the crypto community, provided a clear message that Binance is definitely looking to partner with Ripple, whose native currency XRP is currently the largest altcoin by market cap. However, CZ also claimed that xRapid is not a priority for the crypto exchange at the moment, clarifying that there is nothing going on right now for the exchange with xRapid, stating, "We are focused on launching more features right now, so we are working with a number of other partners. With xRapid, there's nothing going on right now, but in the future we'll definitely want to add them as a partner." Piloted in May 2018 and launched commercially in October, Ripple's xRapid product represents a real-time settlement platform that is designed to speed up cross-border payments based on the liquidity of XRP. As reported earlier today, during the same livestream, CZ suggested that crypto industry growth does not necessarily require the emergence of Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, a development much anticipated by many in the industry. Binance's CEO further stressed that the industry will grow as more entrepreneurs bring forward real blockchain and crypto applications. So this is of course nothing definitive, but I think it's very interesting that he chose to go on the record about a potential future collaboration with xRapid. And that of course will mean some kind of real integration of XRP. Now it is not at all clear what kind of integration he's thinking about here, and it looks like there are no specific plans for the near future, but it absolutely does sound like the team at Binance has thought about potential xRapid applications, potential integrations, and that would of course be huge for both Binance and XRP. XRP of course being such an important cryptocurrency now, being without doubt currently the second most important cryptocurrency. Some people say it isn't a cryptocurrency, but that's just when you start discussing terminology like it matters, you've already lost the argument. So that doesn't even matter. But XRP is so incredibly important right now. xRapid, its number one most important use case. Seeing that integrated in some meaningful way with Binance would be incredibly interesting and mutually beneficial. Remaining with Binance, we also have some news about Binance Chain, which is the blockchain that Binance Coin will be moved to soon. The world of cryptocurrencies is still reeling from the ongoing bearish market, which has become the longest continuous market spiral in the history of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. This, however, has not stopped cryptocurrency organizations and companies increasing the pace on updates and developments, with Changpeng Zhao-led Binance being an example. Just recently, Zhao stated that the Binance chain will support DPoS, distributed proof of stake, delegated, not distributed, in the future, and will be a combination of DPoS and PBFT. The Binance chain was created to shift the Binance coin from the Ethereum blockchain to its own blockchain, CZ had said. The Binance DEX, decentralized exchange, also lives on the Binance chain that allows you to trade in a decentralized manner. Cryptocurrency is supposed to be cheaper to transfer as opposed to be instantaneous. I think initially it did that, but I think the current decentralized exchanges are either slow or have relatively difficult to use UI. He's definitely recognizing a real problem there. The chief executive officer of Binance had also said that BNB will swap from the Ethereum blockchain and move to their own mainnet after the DEX launches in early 2019. In a recent blog post, Binance further elucidated on the delegated proof of stake that Binance is planning to implement. The blog post describes it as a DPoS-based blockchain counts with a voting system where stakeholders outsource their work to a third party. In other words, they are able to vote for a few delegates that will secure the network on their behalf. The delegates may also be referred to as witnesses, and they are responsible for achieving consensus during the generation and validation of new blocks. The DPoS algorithm creates a voting system that is directly dependent on the delegate's reputation. If an error is encountered on the node, it will be quickly expelled and replaced by another node. According to reports, DPoS blockchains are more scalable because of its ability to conduct more transactions when compared to proof of work and proof of stake. And this is actually a move that we've seen a lot in crypto in the last couple of years. A lot of exploration of this concept of delegated proof of stake, because it's a way, it's a way in which you very slightly centralize the process without undermining the general decentralized nature and the fairness and the immutability of a blockchain. And many people see these systems as essentially the future for crypto, and it appears that he is one of these people, and that Binance Coin will soon be running on such a system, which honestly makes this already very interesting coin because it has very unique use cases and very unique integrations. Makes it more interesting in the future. This is very, very good, and I think we will hear a lot about Binance Coin and Binance Chain in the future. Next up, some fake news. Because somebody really thought they could scam people with an obviously faked Bakkt website months before Bakkt is even actually out. In what would be another addition in the list of unusual news this year, someone or some parties have been caught red-handed impersonating the exchange platform Bakkt. The act was uncovered after someone claiming to represent Bakkt sent emails to news agencies and appealed for funds. In what seems to have been a coordinated attempt at outreach, the party claiming to represent Bakkt sent emails to several people and organizations in the cryptocurrency world last night. The email sent by a Gmail address stated, and just take a look at this email. First of all, Daniel Petrenko 00001@gmail.com. They couldn't even make a new email address that said something related to Bakkt. And then the name of the name they gave is different from the name in the email address. That just screams scam right there, and you haven't even looked at the actual email yet. Then of course it gets more ridiculous. It looks like there might be no introduction to this email, but it's just ridiculous. Anyway, they pretended that they were crowdfunding, and we get more details in the continuation of this article. The email also includes a link that redirects the user to a webpage, backplatform.io, supposedly the homepage for the endeavor. The page in question invites and solicits all investors to join the platform if they believe in the future of the cryptocurrency market. The platform seeks $50 million in what it claims to be the second round of Bakkt fundraising, and asks investors to make contribution to the platform's Bitcoin wallet for a minimum transaction value of $100 and a maximum of $25,000. There are so many red flags here. First of all, the first fundraising round was not public. They went to VC firms. So what would make you think that the second round would be public? That is already the first ridiculous thing. Then them just soliciting such small amounts, starting from $100? Really? Really? And then of course, accepting them in Bitcoin, that is all kinds of shady here. Because that means there is probably no contract and no money trail. I really hope nobody fell for this obvious scam. And then, as if that wasn't enough, they promised 27.5% return on investment. So all of this just utterly ridiculous. Thankfully, most people instantly caught this as the obvious fake and the obvious scam it is. I just thought it was an interesting story, because it's also it's just such a bad fake. They didn't even bother. Like, the website itself actually looks reasonably legitimate. Like this looks like it could be an official website if you just take a quick look at it. But then when you see the email and the actual contents of the website and what they're claiming to do and the money that they're claiming to raise and how they're raising it and what they're promising for it, all of that utterly ridiculous, and I hope nobody sent them money. Let's briefly talk Bitcoin ETFs, because we have an SEC commissioner saying that they are inevitable at this point. Speaking during a soon-to-be-published interview with Congressional Quarterly, sorry, we should probably read this first section here. A Bitcoin ETF is a matter of when, not if, for SEC Commissioner Robert J. Jackson Jr. The Commission's lone Democrat expects a Bitcoin ETF filing to eventually satisfy all of the required standards set forth by the body. This is what I've been saying. Speaking during a soon-to-be-published interview with Congressional Quarterly, Jackson stated his belief that an SEC-approved Bitcoin ETF is inevitable. So far, the Commission has rejected all prior filings submitted by different funds looking to launch a Bitcoin ETF. In the excerpts from the interview shared by adjunct professor at NYU Stern, Drew Hinkes, Jackson explains, "Eventually, do I think someone will satisfy the standards that we've laid out here? I hope so, yes, and I think so. Getting the stamp of approval from the deepest and most liquid capital markets in the world is hard, and it should be. Once we make it available to everyday mom-and-pop investors, we are taking risks that Americans get hurt." This, of course, in case you guys weren't already thinking of it this way, the SEC very much exists to baby people. They very much exist to make sure that risky investments don't get through to just everyday investors, which you can question the validity of doing this at all, because they're not just trying to get rid of frauds. They're also trying to get rid of very risky investments that are not fraudulent, because there is no way to frame any of the ETFs that have been proposed as scams. None of them were scams, but they were risky investments, and that is the whole reason they have been rejected, because they were considered too risky for everyday investors, which, you know, in a country that claims to be the land of the free, kind of ironic. But let's continue. Jackson's comments are in many ways indicative of the argument consistently put forward by the Commission against Bitcoin ETFs. The SEC has in the past brought up issues relating to liquidity, custody, and market manipulation. Emphasizing these points, the SEC Commissioner touched on the Winklevoss Bitcoin ETF rejected in July of 2018. According to Jackson, the decision to deny the application stemmed from the inability of the trust to satisfy the SEC standards on preventing fraud and market manipulation. Commenting further, he said, "The case that we had last year involving the Winklevoss Trust, in my view, was not a difficult case. So there you had a situation where the risk for manipulation and for people getting hurt was enormous. The liquidity issues in the market were very serious." Of course, if you're really just looking at the risk of manipulation, a lot of markets are very easily manipulated. And it is very, very likely that both the stock markets and the precious metal markets are being heavily manipulated every single day. But let's just continue reading this. At the time, the commissioners voted 3-1 against the Winklevoss ETF, with the only yes vote coming from Hester Pierce. According to Pierce, the SEC was wrong to reject the ETF, saying the commission failed to interpret its own laws correctly. Meanwhile, the quest for an SEC-approved Bitcoin ETF continues in 2019. At the start of the year, Bitcoiners reported that Bitwise had filed another application after having been rejected by the SEC in 2018. After initially withdrawing the Fun X Bitcoin ETF proposal, CBOE refiled the application a few days later. The Winklevoss twins also stated that they will keep pursuing approval of their Coin Bitcoin ETF, particularly after Gemini became the first to pass SOC2 examination. They stated, "We are committed as ever to making an ETF a reality. The US Securities Exchange Commission could regard Gemini's SOC2 report as a factor in favor of its possible approval of Winklevoss's petition for a Bitcoin ETF." So this is essentially putting forth the same idea that I've put forth for a while now. The SEC, for all the disagreements that we might have with them, that I might have with them, I don't think they are out to prevent a Bitcoin ETF. I think they're truly concerned about the security of people's money. So I don't think they're trying to keep Bitcoin ETFs down. I think they are seeing some legitimate issues in their opinion, and they are waiting for an ETF that pretty much fulfills all their criteria. And the way I'm looking at it, with every new Bitcoin ETF that is being proposed, we are inching a step closer to an approval, because they know why previous ones failed and they are actively working on combating those issues. We have seen a few times now that newer ETFs that are being proposed have specific measures meant to address problems with previous ones. So I agree here, sooner or later it's an inevitability that one will be approved. And that should pretty much send the markets flying when it does happen. Last but not least, we have yet another OTC trading desk being launched. Bitfarm Global has launched an over-the-counter trading desk for digital assets. Announcing the news on Thursday, the firm said that the new Hong Kong-based venture, Autos, is a block deal matchmaking service for institutional clients. In an OTC deal, two parties trade directly with each other, unlike on an exchange where orders are matched between buyers and sellers. Autos will operate to allow institutions to buy and sell digital assets through a network of global liquidity providers and benefit from a competitive and best price execution service. That is just marketing speak. According to its website, Autos has offices in the UK, Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, and Argentina. To get started, clients will have to go through strict onboarding processes, including Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering documentation, the firm said. Autos offers features such as insured custody and transfers from a US-based bank account. The firm did not set out which digital assets it will offer for OTC trades. And we don't really need the rest of this article, it just mentions that a bunch of others have also launched OTC trading desks. Now, a lot of people in the crypto world do not like this idea of more and more OTC trading happening because it is trading that is happening outside of exchanges that we cannot see reflected in the prices and in the market movements in the same way. I have a bit of a different perspective. The way I'm looking at it, if we want millionaire, billionaire investors to get into crypto, if we want large companies to start integrating crypto in meaningful ways and to buy a large amount of crypto and to use a large amount of crypto, we need solutions where they can buy a large amount of crypto or sell a large amount of crypto without instantly moving the entire market by 10%. We need solutions where they can securely buy a large amount of crypto or securely sell a large amount of crypto off the normal exchanges, where one big order like that could completely wipe out the order book and just cause havoc. So I think that it's ultimately good that we are getting these increased possibilities for OTC trading. All of this we don't see reflected instantly in any kind of market movement. But everybody who is buying millions worth of crypto OTC is either going to be a long-term investor who wants to put all of that away and who is in it for the long run, so very good for the crypto market, or they are going to integrate that crypto in some way in a product, in a project of some kind. And that will also, even if we don't see the initial trade reflected in the markets, that will go into long-term market health because it will mean more development in the crypto space. So while I wish we could see just statistical information about this, we don't need to see who is buying or who is selling. Just statistical info, like if we had a breakdown every month of how much of which currency for which prices were being sold, I would welcome that greatly, but they don't have to provide that. We usually get like yearly reports and stuff like that that have some general numbers. But we know billions in crypto are being moved this way. We know whales are moving. We know huge corporations are buying. We know huge investors are buying. And the demand for OTC trading and the insane increase in demand in the last year or so should show us that we are in for a very, very bright future, because a lot of people are putting a lot of money into the crypto markets, a lot of money, and they are expecting returns, and they will make sure they're getting returns. And these are the kind of people who can make sure they're getting returns, who can move the markets in the future, who can ensure that the health of the crypto market will be good, that the infrastructure in the crypto space will be good. So ultimately, I think we all benefit from these over-the-counter trading desks, even if we personally do not use them, even if we can't track them as well. And with that, I'm going to end this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, if you want to read any of these articles yourself, links in the description. In the description, you will also find links to my social media pages, as well as ways to support the channel. Any support is greatly, greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching, and I will be back with another video very soon.